So today we're going to take you through the top 5 secrets for muscle growth in 2021. These are strategies I'm going to implement with myself and our clients to build maximum muscle whilst adding minimal amounts of body fat to stay lean and athletic whilst getting jacked at the same time. So we're going to take you through 5 very simple steps you can implement to make sure you're making a maximum amount of progress from your training. Point number 1 is digestion. Now, why is this the most important thing when we're looking to build muscle mass? Think about it. Our body needs raw building blocks and materials to basically to build new muscle tissue. One of the biggest mistakes people make with digestion and food when they try and add muscle mass and add size on is they do this with calories. They add calories in like crazy at the start. Now, what happens is they then get bloated. The stomach can't digest the food. What do? They keep adding more calories in. They keep on eating. And guess what? The digestion gets worse. And guess what? When your body doesn't, it's like getting food coming in, your body doesn't want to be using the food. Guess what it's going to do with the food? It's going to store its body fat, or it's going to shit it out, to be honest with you. So the reality is we want to be very, very careful at the start of our digestion, because this is where a lot of people go wrong. One of the big reasons that like 95% of people just get fat when they're trying to add a muscle mass is they don't think about digestion, which then affects nutrient partitioning, which is essentially where our body's shuttling nutrients. So we want to be putting nutrients into muscle cells, not into fat. And how do we do that is by making sure our digestion is on point. Now, how do we do this practically? If we're starting at, say, by baseline of 2,500 calories, we want to make sure that we're incrementally going up in reasonable amounts. We're not going to try and go from 2,500 calories to 5,000 calories because we're now trying to add a muscle mass. That's completely retarded and the digestion will just break. So next point I would actually add into this as well is making sure that when you're actually going to eat a meal, you're actually hungry or your body's okay to take it, and it's not just putting food on top of food on top of food. It's just going to sit in your stomach, because that's going to blow your stomach out, and again, just going to cause increase in fat storage. So that would be the big thing we want to focus on. And again, last point for this, don't eat loads of shit junk food, because this is going to completely destroy your digestion and going to cause absolutely none of that nutrients can be uptaken, and it's just going to increase body fat storage like crazy. So avoid things like the high fat and high carb together would be the easy suggestion, and avoid very high processed foods. So be aware of your digestion is point number 1. It's key for building muscle mass. Number 2, deep tissue. So this can be with therapists or it can be with the massage gun. It's not a sex toy. Why this is important is because if our tissue is all knotted up and impinged, we're not going to be able to fully lengthen and fully contract the muscle. So being able to go through a full range of motion is very, very important. And obviously this is interlinked with mobility and stretching, but some areas, if they're very heavily impinged, having deep tissue done will work very, very well. So what do I mean by deep tissue? I mean literally like deep tissue, people going in with your elbows. You can do things like cupping, acupuncture. All of these things work really, really well to open up the tissue, which is obviously, as I said, can help with contractions. But what's also going to help is what's the building block of building muscle and actually repairing muscle? It's getting blood flow. And we get, from blood flow, we get nutrients coming into the muscles. By having deep tissue done, we're allowing new blood to come in full of nutrients, which is going to then allow more repair, more growth, and ultimately a better physique. Point number 3, sleep. So this is the most important time when it comes to actually the repair process and basically rebuilding our body. So we want to making sure we're getting good quality sleep. I'd aim for at least 8 to 9 hours a night if you can do. The more generally better when it comes to sleep. We have to be very aware of the quality of our sleep. So a couple of things that can affect sleep very, very heavily are eating too closely to going to bed, which will increase your resting heart rate, which will have a negative impact on recovery, and also having caffeine too late in the day. So we want to try and avoid having caffeine 6 hours before going to bed, because the half-life of caffeine is 6 hours. So sleep is fundamental in terms of muscle growth, repair, and recovery. And ultimately, the harder we can recover, the harder we can train, and the more muscle tissue we can build, and then we can just rinse and repeat that process. Number 4 is going to be tracking calories. So if our goal is to get jacked to build muscle mass, what do we need? We need to be in a calorie surplus. So calorie surplus is where we are consuming more calories on a daily basis than we are therefore burning, which means our body has an abundance of nutrients to then increase and go up in muscle mass, which is what ultimately we want. This is obviously within reason because we don't want to have such a huge calorie excess that it's piling on body fat. And that's obviously part of what we do with the coaching process with the clients I work with, is to find the correct amount of calorie surplus you need to be. For most people, probably 400 to 500 calories a day is a good starting point. What you want to be seeing is that your body weight is consistently going up, but gradually over time, not too quickly. And how do we achieve calorie surplus? It's obviously knowing what we're eating. Just being like, oh yeah, I eat loads, but I don't get any bigger. Well, you probably aren't actually eating as much as you think you are, or the food you are eating aren't calorie dense enough. So if you don't actually track and quantify something, you can't actually really work out what's going on. So tracking of calories is fundamental. You're going to be tracking obviously protein, carbs, and fats. Proteins, I always recommend a minimum of a gram per pound of body weight. Carbs completely vary and similar to fat depending on your body type and your goals. So we want to make sure we're tracking calories, tracking our macronutrients, and making sure we know what's going into our body. Point number 5, and this is the real key in the golden bridge to gains, is training intensity. What do I mean by training intensity? Most people will stop a set and give up on their workout way too easily. And there's nothing worse when you're watching someone, they're going, for example, through a bet. Let's use press down as an example. So you're going to tricep press down, again, 7, 8, 9, 10, and they stop. If you're not getting to the point where you're actually slowing down and you physically cannot move the bar, then you're definitely not training intensely enough. A big thing that I recommend is that you actually log your sessions. So what do I mean by log your sessions? I mean, actually know what weight you're using now and reps, so you can log this and track this and you can see your progression. Now, why is this awesome? Well, for example, I did a hack squat yesterday and I got 5 reps more than I did 10 days ago. And that for me is like insane, because now I know in my head, like the process of everything I'm doing is working, implementing all these strategies here, and because you'll get stronger, you're building more muscle mass. If you don't track, you can't see how well you're doing, and you won't get the progression, like that good feeling of making positive progress, which is really important. Ultimately, we have to force an adaptation from our body, force our body to build muscle mass. Our body doesn't want to build muscle mass, we have to make it do so. So training intensity is integral for you doing this. So this is point number 5 to wrap up. How to build maximal muscle mass for 2021. Training intensity, don't train like a little fairy. Put a shift in, move some weight. Train intensity, be accurate with what you're doing, and you will grow. So these are my top 5 tips for building maximum muscle in 2021. We'll take you from here to here. If you're ready, hit the link below and you can book in a free call with myself and the CTO coaching team to book in your 6-pack strategy call. Hope this video was insightful, helpful. Make sure you smash the subscribe button, hit the like button, and let us know any questions you may all have in the comment below, and we'll see you in the next video.